Farid, do you have evidence to suggest that ISO 2400 has improved the uptake of sustainable procurement?
Well, I think the results are here. The profession has learned because sustainable procurement is becoming much more mainstreamed than in 2017. And we have evidence to prove that. In the public sector, for example, we found out in our latest data collection exercise for SDG 12.71, which is about the number of countries implementing SPP action plans and policies. We found out that 33 countries were complying with SDG 1271. And in terms of GDP, these countries represent 69% of global GDP. And we see that multilateral development banks like the World Bank, local authorities are also embarking on SPP. The same is true for the private sector. So we are currently finalizing our 2022 global SPP review. For this third edition, we inaugurated with Laval University in Quebec, Canada, a section to assess the progress of sustainable procurement in the private sector. And the survey was conducted, and it shows that 80% of the individuals who represented the private sector believe that sustainable procurement has become more or much more important in their organization since 2016. Which is a proportion similar to the one we found in public organizations, where the proportion was 83.6%. We also found out that sustainable procurement is diffusing among smaller companies. So our respondents indicated that smaller companies are starting to adopt sustainable procurement practices, and this also creates a need to tailor sustainable procurement policies and tools for SMEs. The role of ISO 2400 in this context becomes even more important since it is a guidance standard, and you can only guide organizations that are convinced about the benefits of sustainable procurement and are dedicated. Well, we have to make sustainable procurement mandatory in the public sector, and the regulatory framework has also to make it mandatory for in private organizations. And this is requested by private organizations themselves. We got this feedback in our survey that in order to make it work, in order to motivate organizations, we have to set in place a level playing field. And this can only happen if regulations are put in place that really make it mandatory and motivate private organizations to really adopt and implement sustainable procurement.